So I'm sitting here and I'm talking with my husband, and we're having. I look crazy.
You look fine, babe.
I don't actually look really crazy. We're having like a really deep conversation. Um, Pretty much just kind of talking about the way I've been feeling, what I've been dealing with. Well, I seriously look a hot mess right now. Like I'm looking, and
You
it's
look
like
fine.
I need to stop doing that. That's something I can talk about. I don't have like self-esteem issues or anything like that necessarily, but I do I am hard on myself. I'm very hard on myself a lot. Trying to get lighting here. There we go. Um as something that I still deal with. I need to stop being so hard on myself. Um anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to my husband. I don't even remember how we got on this subject, but um, I realized that um, everything that's been going on lately, like with my mom and my relationship with her, has been really hard on me. Is that something like that? I guess that's just the lighting. Um, and yeah, it's been really hard on me.
Take your time.
It's I know it's like I get flustered. It's like I know what I want to say, but it doesn't come out that way. Um, it's been really hard to deal with. When it first happened, it was fresh and it was hard, and I immediately wanted to distract myself. Um, but since then, it's been like what, about a week now, maybe a little more than a week, and it's harder now. Um, it's I've been focusing so much on not dwelling on it, and I feel like that takes a lot more effort than actually dwelling on it. And it's like in my mind, I've been trying to kind of decide. It's like, okay, if I dwell on it, it's bad. But if I don't dwell on it and I'm putting all that energy towards trying to distract myself, it's almost just as bad, because in the back of my mind, I am in fact thinking about it. That's why I feel the need to distract myself. And I feel like in a way that's almost worse, because I'm thinking about it and trying to focus on something else. So that's what I've been dealing with. I've been trying to distract myself um, with whatever I can, but it's like whatever I try to distract myself with, it's not quite doing the trick. Um, I try to play video games, and I like video games. You know, I have a few games that I like playing, and I play those games, and it's cool, but you know, it's not the kind of distraction that I need or the kind of distraction that I want. Um, I'll see the house is messy, and it's like, oh, I need to clean up, and I'll clean, but again, not the kind of distraction I need. Um, you know, I'll watch a show, and that does work for a while. You know, like today we tried a show, and you know, it's pretty good. But after a while, and I do this with shows anyway, where I'll get bored of it, but after a while, it's not doing what I need it to do. I guess last night, well, I know last night I ended up having a drink, and I don't even remember doing my video. I remember bits and pieces, but not completely. But with that, I guess it felt nice, you know, to be kind of, my mind kind of altered and weird for a little while. And that was nice, but I also realized that, well, one, I'm not a drinker. Like, I just don't really like drinking. Like, you know, I have a drink every now and then, like every blue moon, but it's not really my cup of tea. But I was so desperate to have some sort of distraction that, you know, it's like, you know what? I actually need a drink. And I had a little bit. I didn't go crazy. I didn't get drunk or anything, but I obviously had enough. And, you know, it was nice not being in my right mind completely. Um, and it wasn't necessarily me attempting to drink my problems away. It was just nice to be in the mindset where I was just not able to focus on anything. And I feel like it loosened me up and allowed me to, I don't want to say happy, that's not the word I want to use, but just enjoy myself. And that's something that I've had a hard time doing, is enjoying myself, or, you know, I guess kind of being happy. I'm not unhappy. I'm very happy in my marriage. I love my family and things are great. But there's like, I guess, a void. It's just knowing that things aren't the way that I would like them to be. And even if I'm not focusing on it, I'm focusing on it. And I just realized that it's been a lot more difficult for me than I've realized. And probably more so because it's my mother. I've always had issues with my dad. I've never had a very healthy relationship with my father. And it's not like, you know, oh, I never met my father, or he was never around. It's like, for the first like 13, 14 years of my life, you know, he was completely in my life. You know, it's like we had a house, we had homes in Michigan, you know. We lived together. He would go to work. He would come home. I never really had a good relationship with him. I was never as close to him as I would have liked to have been. But that's something that I've always dealt with. From the time I was a little girl, you know, even my first memories, it's like I've always been on a journey to seek my father's attention or have a better relationship with him. And now here I am, 22 years old, and, you know, it's still pretty much the same. I'm not very close with my father, and it's always been that way. So dealing with something all your life, you know, that's kind of what you're used to. Even if you want something, even if you want it to change, you're kind of used to it being that way. With my mother, it was the complete opposite. I was always close with my mother and everything, and our relationship only really started changing when I kind of started having my own viewpoints, and, you know, I started kind of doing what was best for me. And, you know, in my teenage years, I can understand, you know, even if we would get into it, which was very rare in my teenage years or as a child at all, you know, I was still a child. You know, she can tell me, no, you're not doing that, or yes, you can do that. But our relationship really started kind of changing once I turned 18, and I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And, you know, like my biggest argument with her before this was when I ended up moving in with my husband before we were married. And that was a big deal, because I just, my mom and I, we didn't fight, you know, that wasn't a thing. But to get into get the situation I'm in now with her, after being married for, you know, over 3 years, and just as an adult and everything, it's probably harder than that argument with her when I was 18, when I moved out. Just because, you know, I can understand then it was still fresh. It's like, what do you mean you're moving in with this older man? You're not even married. You're this and that. It was new. It was fresh. It was kind of like a bold decision that I made. But now I don't really understand why she still, why she focuses on the past so much. You know, I hoped that she would be able to look past things that happened years ago and see that her daughter, her adult daughter, is happy, you know. But that's obviously not the case. And that's what's made it so hard, because while I've never had the best relationship with my father, I think it's something that I've always expected from my mother, because I didn't have anything but that until I started doing things that made Asia happy. And maybe I'm stretching, but for me, it feels like the things that make me happy make her upset. And I just feel like as a mother, it should be the opposite, you know? I can't imagine my child, especially as an adult, telling me, you know, that they're going to do something that makes them happy. If it's nothing that's going to put them in danger, it's nothing wrong, nothing bad, just something that I may not necessarily agree with, but it makes them happy. I can't imagine me being anything but happy for them. Even if I don't completely understand, or, you know, in any other situation, I would, you know, kind of turn my nose up to it. Like, what do you mean? The fact that it makes my child happy, it makes me just as happy knowing that they're happy. But I guess everybody's different. I can't, well, I would like for her to feel that way. I guess I can't really expect someone to feel the way that I feel, just because I'm a certain way with my child and with my future children. I can't expect other people to feel that way too, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about the last couple of days, but I think today I was able to openly admit and talk to my husband about the fact that this has been very, very difficult for me. It has caused, I'm already a very emotional person. You know, my emotions are all over the place just because of whatever is going on with me physically, my hormones or whatever, on top of things that we've been dealing with. But this really took the cake, and I feel very unstable. I'm not saying I'm like suicidal or anything like that, but mentally and emotionally, I'm a complete wreck. And I find myself I'm focusing so much on keeping it together and appearing to be fine, and distracting myself. That's what I spend my time doing, as opposed to just doing the things that would usually make me happy. And I don't like that. You know, usually with this kind of thing, you would say, hey, you know, don't do that. Don't distract yourself from it. You know, deal with the problem. But in this case, I can't deal with it. You know, there's nothing I can really do. I have even, you know, thought like, oh, well, maybe did I do something wrong? Is this me? You know, was I silly for, you know, saying the things that I said, or even having that conversation with her? But in my heart, I feel like I didn't do anything wrong. I feel like I said what I needed to say in a completely respectful way. I don't think I would change anything that I did, because I think that was important. But it definitely changed things in a negative way. And it definitely changed me, and I don't like it. And I don't really know what to do about it, but to distract myself from dwelling on it. So, yeah. I ended my video the way you say I always do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just, I just felt the need to say that in my video today. I know one day I'm going to look back at this and say, oh, I remember when I was dealing with that, and this is how I dealt with it. But right now, I don't know what that is. So,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do what I know how to do right now, which is try to distract myself from it and move on, not dwell on it, and just focus on my family and myself.